Hopefully I'm live right now. Um, for some weird reason, I'm going to say this right now. For the past 2 weeks, Facebook has been kicking me literally in the ass. They've changed their setup twice in 2 weeks. Facebook Live. Facebook, you're killing me right now. Not going to lie, you're killing me. So, have to do this quick. I apologize. This was supposed to be 8 o'clock, but I got other stuff to take care of, so I got to do this at 7:43. I apologize again. But again, here we go. Deep Dish Football Live, Week 5, IHSA Football. Here we go. As you can see, I don't care about the low frame rate. Doesn't matter to me because I keep getting action needed. Hopefully this stream doesn't quit out on me like it did Saturday morning. Saturday, it absolutely killed me. Absolutely killed me. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully everything can be good. And if my stream sucks, I do apologize. Good. Thank you so much, Edward Quinn. Big shout out to you. But yeah, new Facebook setup now. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to test it out tomorrow because I got DuPage Run Shoot Show with my co-host Patrick Cotto talking DuPage County football tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Just again, a quick reminder, follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Visit deepdishfootball.com. Deep Dish Football, brand new article, have the IHSA polls from 1A to 8A. And, well, I got some good comments. I got some bad comments. Like I said, I got requested to do the polls numerous times. I did the first year of my publishing year. I absolutely hated it. I decided to do the polls this year. Hey, it's good ad revenue for me. Literally, I make about $7.25 off of ad revenue, just off of people going to the polls. I've already got 1,000 looks at my polls, and now I'm starting to realize why the media guys love polls so much. Because they make a shitload of money off of it. Simple as that. And subscription fees, too. So, God bless polls, I guess. But the people take too much into it. Oh, this team's ranked 2. Oh, they're not 2, they're number 1. Jeez, we got to do something about it. Come on. Polls don't matter. That's the reason why we play the game. Let's think about that for a second. And we talk about polls and that. I have never heard in my life of a player going to a coach and, coach, are we going to play this game against the number 2 ranked team in the state? No, we can't. We're going to lose. Because you want to know something? A bunch of pencil neck geek, neckbeard soy boys decide to basically rank us lower. So we're definitely going to lose. And they never coached or played football in their life. And they don't know anything about the game of football. But they know more than us. Haven't heard that? So, come on. Polls are for fun. I like it when people get angry about it personally. I'm a little bit of an antagonist myself because people get angry about it. But you just got to tell people, slow down. Polls don't mean crap. There's a reason why we play this game. And the usual thing with polls is this. And this is the one thing that I've always seen. Usually the number 4 or 5 team after week 9 is the team that starts pulling the upsets in the playoffs. Usually the 1 or 2 team always gets upset within round 2. And for some odd reason, and this is the bigger classes. The schools that have more reach with the media always get a more liking towards the ranking for bigger schools. And that's been the way since the 90s when the Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune used to do a poll too. That was well known. So, take it easy. These are polls. That's it. You still got to play the game. Polls mean absolutely crap. My polls mean shit. So come on, people. Have some fun. All right. So, and O'Kimmis is looking good too. Let's get, first one, I forgot one final thing. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. If you like my work, if you don't like my work, please feel free to leave a tip to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That's St. Jude Children's Hospital. They do an absolute wonderful job. Um, they help families that are in debt or need to get treatments paid for their kids. I absolutely adore this organization, the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Please check it out. Um, Again, that's why you see all the gold ribbons. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. I had cancer a couple of years ago. I can't imagine a little kid having cancer. So please check it out. Childhood Cancer Awareness Month this September. And please check out St. Jude's Children's Hospital. All right. And again, DuPage Run Shoot Show tomorrow at 8 p.m. All right. So we get into the big deep dish football games of the week, all for week 5 IHSA football. And again, I keep forgetting one more thing. Friday night MVP. People, coaches, players, fans, parents. I need big game stats. Last week, we had the player from Money, quarterback Franklin. He had 8 touchdowns. So pretty easy pick. But please make sure you get my stats after the game if there's any big stats. I don't need game film until Sunday or Monday, but I do need any big game stats to nominate a player for the player in the state of Illinois. And it's 1-8 to 8-8. Northern Illinois to Southern Illinois. Freeport to Cairo, Illinois. The whole state of Illinois. Provide me those big game stats. Simple as that. And usually, like literally, I have to go through the Southern Illinois stats and Central Illinois stats around 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. because I want to cover the whole state. And that's the serious thing for Illinois high school football and the serious thing for deep dish football. That was a pledge that we covered the whole state of Illinois. 1A to 8A. That's it. Okay. So let's get started. Big game. Bryan takes on North Boone. Bryan won the big game against Genoa Kingston. Huge win for Bryan going in that 3A conference. North Boone, again, I'm very in love with that passing attack. Always have been with North Boone. Deep dish football game of the week. Bolingbrook versus Lincoln Way East. Bolingbrook lost to Lincoln Way East in the spring. A lot of turnovers were made. I think 5 interceptions by their quarterback, who's now graduated. Lincoln Way East, again, they had that one loss to Naperville Central in week 2, but they are coming off as a strong team right now. Great rushing attack. And again, they hit over 300 yards of rushing against Bolingbrook in the spring. The big thing for Bolingbrook is going to be attack that rushing attack, stop the rushing attack, and get to that quarterback of Lincoln Way East. Next, deep dish football game, overtime game of the week. Cary Grove versus Prairie Ridge, the big battle in Fox Valley. In my poll rankings, 2 versus 3. Number 2, Cary Grove. Number 3, Prairie Ridge. And again, like I said this before, no one wants to see those teams in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see those teams in the playoffs. When you talk about the triple option, the wing offense, the wishbone, flexbone, all those different variations, no one wants to see that crap. It is so hard. It is so hard when you have a team that hasn't seen that offense and you see them in the playoffs and you haven't seen an offense in 9 weeks and you have to face it against them. And as a defensive coordinator, you have to tell a teenage boy to remain patient, to read his keys, and stay in his assignment. That's a pain in the ass. And that's why I was laughing, because people were like 3. Well, Montini football is 1-3. They should be in the polls. No, they shouldn't. And let me tell you something right now. And people are giving too much, and I see this with people that are not in the DuPage area, not in the Chicagoland area, saying Montini, oh well, if they get into the playoffs, they're going to kick our ass. Oh no, they're not. Simple as that. You got to play disciplined football. And if they go against the Row 3A team that's running a straight flex bone, and they do a couple traps on them, oh no, I can't read my keys. 2 players make a mistake on a Montini defense, that's a touchdown. That's a long touchdown. So let's not give... Montini's a good team. But again, discipline wins in football. That's always been the truth. All right. So After that, we get into Carmi White versus Fairfield in the Black Diamond Conference. Carmi White, again, very impressive this season. Good surprise team taking on a tough Fairfield team that came bounced back from a loss to Johnston City. Very interested to see how Fairfield does in this game. Johnston City versus Flora. Big game for Johnston City as they take on a tough Flora team who I felt was good enough when they joined the Black Diamond Conference and that they were going to do some damage. And I think a lot of people came to agreement with Flora. But for me, with Johnston City, again, Austin Brown, that offensive line of Johnston City, very underrated too. I'll be covering week 7. I'll be going to Johnston City versus Cesar Valier for the Deep Dish Football Road Trip game of the week, going to Johnston City, Black Diamond Country, finally. Central A&M versus Tuscola. Tuscola's looking pretty good right now against a strong Central A&M team. Again, my thing with Tuscola is Peyton Armstrong, their quarterback. He is having an absolute beast of a season, and for Central A&M, how do they stop that passing attack of a Tuscola? Next, Springfield Rochester versus Rochester. Derek Leonard takes on Springfield. Springfield got absolutely destroyed by Sacred Heart Griffin last week. Again, the big thing with Springfield High School is, can we bounce back against this very tough Rochester team? And Coach Gully, he is a hell of a coach, and Coach Heb, and all those coaches, they do a wonderful job. This is definitely an interesting game, Springfield versus Rochester. And if Springfield gets blown out, you guys can all call me an idiot, and I will eat crow. Vernon Hills versus Deerfield. Vernon Hills lost to Hoffman Estates last week. Another interesting game. Coach Bellicomo, again, good passing attack. New quarterback, underrated quarterback going against that Deerfield defense. That looks really good. Next game, New Trier versus Evanston in a big rivalry game. Evanston, they got to do something. This is the big proving grounds week against a tough New Trier team. And Nevin Creamsicola, the quarterback. Evanston, again, good offensive line. Gabe Rosen, offensive tackle. He's a hell of a player. Definitely a game to watch out for. Glenbard North, undefeated. The Cinderella story. The one that I like to talk about so much, going against the big dogs of Batavia. This is a prove me game to the Glenbard North. And again, Batavia, that running attack is so hard to stop. Their offensive line, they have a very athletic offensive line. And what's the guy's name? Their sophomore quarterback is an absolute stud. So this is a big game to watch as Batavia takes on Glenbard North. Geneva versus St. Charles North. St. Charles North has got to bounce back. And Geneva is just looking hot right now. Geneva is on fire. And again, how do you stop the run against the tough Geneva team? That's going to be a main thing for St. Charles North. Next game, Naperville Central in the big rivalry game takes on Neuqua Valley. Neuqua Valley, they're looking really good with Larkin and Sessa and just those wide receivers, that running attack, strong offensive line. Naperville Central, passing attack still worries me a little bit. They still had the Division One recruit in Reggie Flamiria. But it should be an interesting game. I'll talk more about it with my co-host Patrick Cotto at the DuPage Run and Shoot show tomorrow at 8 p.m. Huntley versus Jacobs. This is a big proving grounds game for Jacobs. Was that tough loss to Prairie Ridge? That 1 point loss to Prairie Ridge. Can you bounce back and play against a team against Huntley who's having a sort of okay season? The big proving grounds game for Jacobs football. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't get to eat crow because I was right about Jacobs, and I'm very special because I was right about Jacobs. That's something that I like to be proud of, because you know what? I said Jacobs was good, and everyone laughed me off. Everyone laughed me off. And I was right. I was right for the first time after 600 tries. I was right. So, big shout out to Jacobs football. Lyle versus Coal City. Lyle, big win over Streeter last week. Does Coach Parpet have his team ready? Can they make that big step forward in the Illinois I hate this. The Illinois 8 Central, whatever. Illinois Central 8, whatever the new conference is. I still call it the Interstate 8. I'm sorry. Lyle versus Coal City. And again, Coal City, they're 2-2. Lyle is 3-1. This is going to be a tremendous game, especially that Lyle passing attack against Coal City's defense, and how does Lyle stop the run against Coal City? Because they had a tough time with Reed Custer, but they had an excellent job against Streeter, no doubt about that. LaSalle Peru versus Sycamore. Keep an eye out for LaSalle Peru. I love that offensive line. Keep doing it, guys. You're doing a hell of a job. And Sycamore's just looking like absolute beasts. Eli Meyer at quarterback. You got to keep an eye out for Eli Meyer. Ebgen versus Weathersfield in a big game. Again, Ebgen, they went up in my polls, and I'm mispronouncing the name. I do apologize. You guys can all call me dumbass in the comments. I do apologize for that. Dunlap versus Metamora is always a big game. Dunlap, I still got faith in this team. Dunlap against a tough Metamora team. Very interesting to see how they go against that fast-paced offense of Metamora. Buffalo Grove, undefeated, taking on Prospect. Buffalo Grove, what more can you say? You got an offensive line, you got a defensive line that has just absolutely dominated against the Prospect team. Their last loss, I believe, was to Wheaton St. Francis, if I'm not mistaken. Should be an interesting game as Buffalo Grove. Again, good quarterback, underrated passing attack. Eli, I'm gonna kill his last name. I'm gonna kill it. I'm not even gonna try. And Anderson, they do a wonderful job. Keep an eye out for that game. Barrington versus Hoffman Estates. Hoffman Estates, big game last week, beats Vernon Hills. Not a lot of people saw that coming. Aiden Creer, he is a quarterback of the future for the state of Illinois, a top quarterback recruit prospect, taking on a tough Barrington and Coach Sanchez. Again, I think Barrington needs this win more than Hoffman Estates, but again, it's high school football, and it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited to hear about this game and look at the stats after. Hanahu versus Boylan. Hanahu versus Rockford Boylan. Big game. Boylan, this is a big proving test grounds game for them as they take a tough Hanahu team on, and just a dominant offensive line. Just pure dominance from that team. And again, Hanahu is ranked in my polls, and they're looking unbelievable. They look really good. I think they could be one of my dark horses when we get into the IHSA playoffs. Next, Lena Winslow versus Fulton. Lena Winslow is just looking like an absolute killers right now in that NUIC conference. I don't see anyone. I'm gonna probably eat my words. I don't see any team beating Lena Winslow this season. I just don't see it. And then I'm gonna eat crow because they'll probably lose. But I just don't see I don't see anybody beating Lena Winslow. Merrill Forsyth versus Williamsville, a big game in Central Illinois. This is, I consider, Sagamo Conference Championship game as Merrill Forsyth takes on Williamsville. And again, Culp. Do not sleep on that name, Culp, for Merrill Forsyth. That's a big name that you must know. Williamsville, Ethan Hines is a name that you also have to check out as well. Manuka versus Oswego. Both teams need that win. Manuka needs that win even more. They've suffered a couple tough losses. And again, I love that Oswego Deacon Tonili, their tight end, you just can't stop the guy. And when he takes a hit, he keeps on ticking. And his yak is unbelievable yards after a catch. The kid's special. O'Fallon versus East St. Louis. And we talk about East St. Louis looking like beasts in the 6A, taking on an O'Fallon team that beat Edwardsville last week. Shout out to O'Fallon on that. And again, big game you need to watch as we get into that Southern Illinois area. And O'Fallon could be a late emerger when we get into the playoffs. Hall versus Mendota. I'm very interested in Hall. Mac Rice-Stick. I'm saying that grain, Kawani or whatever. And again, I apologize. That's another interesting game, as Kawani is a top small school team along with Princeton. Glenbard East versus South Elgin. Undefeated South Elgin. Coach Dragon Technakinik. Again, good running attack against a tough Glenbard East team. Coach Walters has got that team playing unbelievable. Big shout out to Glenbard East football, Rams football, and my old coach, Coach Walker, as well, the offensive line coach for Glenbard East. Sterling versus Geneseo. What more can you say? I saw that game. I finally saw the Sterling and Montini game. Jeez, Sterling had a good shot of being undefeated. Geneseo, the game. Geneseo, I'm very impressed with that passing attack. And you eat your words when you say that. But this could be a big game for Geneseo. And how does Sterling's secondary respond to that Geneseo passing attack? All right. Okay. Western Illinois Valley North, Bairdstown versus Brown County. Brown County is another ranked team. And the big game, Western Illinois Valley South, West Central versus Greenfield is another big game in the Western Illinois Valley. And again, big names with that Western Central and Brown County and Greenfield too. Those three big teams. Cuyahoga versus Carbondale. Again, this is a big game for both teams. Big game for both teams. It'll be interesting. Keep an eye out for Carbondale's Hilliard. I really like that kid. He's a special player. Great running back. You got to watch out for him. And Cuyahoga, if they get the win, watch out. They went against some big teams. They got their first win. And we'll see what happens. Dupac versus St. Teresa. Just scheduled. Dupac versus St. Teresa. This is huge. I have Dupac as one of my top teams in 3A in the state of Illinois, taking on St. Teresa team that's absolutely the number 2 team in Class 2A. Hopefully I'm correct about that. Big game for St. Teresa's defense, and Dupac they're a special team. Dupac is just a special team this year. And I don't know why so many people are down on Dupac. I really don't know why. And I'm not talking about their fans or any of that, but like, oh well, Dupac's not going to do good in the playoffs. Dupac's going to do good in the playoffs. Don't sleep on Dupac. I'm about to say that Dupac's going to be one of my dark horses to the 3A. Come on. Quincy Notre Dame versus Mater Dei. A big game. 2 ranked teams going against each other. Coach Cornell's got Quincy Notre Dame dreaming big. And Mater Dei is always puts together a great field a great team, especially with the running attack of Mater Dei. And Quincy Notre Dame, for me, their guy Obert, it's Obert if I'm not mistaken, their defensive end, had 3 sacks and I believe a forced fumble if I'm not mistaken last game. Definitely a guy you want to check out for Quincy Notre Dame. Big shout out to them. Gibson City versus Eureka. Eureka is sort of a little bit of an upswing. They found their quarterback. Gibson City, they got to get the win. They got to get that W against the tough Eureka team. Next game, and I forgot about this game in my video. I do apologize. Crete Monee versus Juliet Catholic. I'm surprised they scheduled that game such late in the season. It should be an interesting game as Crete Monee takes on Juliet Catholic Academy. Juliet Catholic Academy still they got that old-fashioned run offense, and Anderson is just a pain in the butt. That running back and their offensive line too. One of their offensive guys, Nico, he's a hell of a player too. Crete Monee, what more can you say about Crete Monee? Joshua Franklin just got 8 touchdowns last week. Very high spread offense for Crete Monee. How does Juliet Catholic slow them down? This is going to be a very underrated game and definitely a game that people must pay attention to. Next game, Mount Carmel versus St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius beats Marmion Academy last week. Mount Carmel beats Marist last week. Mount Carmel, they're looking like the big dogs in the 7A. I have them as my number 1 team in 7A as they take on a St. Ignatius team. Let me repeat this. St. Ignatius is undefeated. Let me repeat that again. St. Ignatius is undefeated. Don't sleep on the St. Ignatius team. They just had one of their defensive linemen get offered by the University of Illinois. They had him play running back his freshman year in the spring, and it was absolutely hilarious. The guy's 6'5". It was absolutely hilarious. See a big guy rumbling and stumbling. There ain't nothing like a big guy, a big hog in high school football used as a running back or a quarterback. It's the greatest thing in the world. It really is. All right. Marist versus Marmion Academy. We got Marmion Academy again. They lost last week. How do they respond against a tough Marist team? Very, very tough Marist team. How do you respond against them? Next, Marengo versus Morris. Morris coming big off the win off of Woodstock. They absolutely crushed Woodstock High School. Morris, they're looking like the real deal right now. Marengo, Josh Holst, that passing attack. Good offensive line, good running attack, great offensive with Marengo, taking on a tough, hard-nosed Morris defense. And last game of the week, Loyola versus Fenwick. The big thing for Fenwick is how do you stop the running game so Marco Maldonado doesn't get 4 touchdowns and over 200 yards of rushing against that big boy offensive line. And I mean a big boy offensive line of Loyola Academy. They're big boys, no doubt about that. All right, so let's get to the questions. Feel free to ask any questions, comments. You guys can call me whatever. All right. Yeah, feel free to ask a question. Go ahead, go crazy. And again, follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This video will be posted on YouTube. And again, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. That's why you see the yellow ribbon. Feel free to leave a donation to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, as they do a wonderful job. And they help out families that are struggling to pay for their child's treatment. They're really special. And again, like I said, I had cancer a couple of years ago. It sucks, but it even sucks even more that you have a kid that's going through that pain, or you have a parent that has his kid going through that pain. Be sure to check it out, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Check it out. It is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in September. Any questions? Feel free to ask and go ahead. Hopefully my stream is healthy for you guys. Had some serious difficulties on Saturday morning, breakfast with Coach Big Pete. Again, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Do not forget that. Thoughts on Reed Custer versus Piatone. I did not read Reed Custer versus Piatone. I apologize. That was actually in my games of the week. The big thing with Piatone with me is this. They had a tough game against Wilmington, and against with Piatone is how they bounced back against a tough Reed Custer team. Because Reed Custer is faster than Wilmington. And the main thing with Piatone for me too is I want to see more from their passing game against that Reed Custer secondary. And I think Piatone is going to be a major league sleeper in 3A. No doubt about that. Coach Tully, by the way, that's a hell of a coach. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Coach Tully doesn't get enough respect that he deserves. He deserves a lot more respect that he's getting. I consider him a top coach in the state of Illinois. For the work that he has done, Coach Tully, he deserves a lot of respect. So, big shout out. That's going to be a big game, Reed Custer versus Piatone. Any more questions, feel free to ask. You can type on comments, any questions. And also, I'm going to say this right now. If your child gets contacted by any group saying we have a last chance senior showcase and they charge over $100 or over $200, do not pay for it. It is an absolute scam. No last chance showcase should be over $100 or $200. I heard if there's a $300 last chance showcase for seniors in December in Florida, screw that. Don't pay for that crap. Remember, recruiting is 100% free. And when we talk about last chance showcases, anything under $100, okay, go ahead. Anything over $100, screw that. Don't do it. Don't pay that. Don't pay it. Don't pay it. Don't pay it. And please fill out those free recruiting questionnaires on those college websites. Please, parents and recruits, please do it. That gets your kid free exposure. Please. And update your huddles, update your Twitters, and make sure that you have your information perfectly on your bio of your Twitter. And if your kid does not have a Twitter account, make sure he has a Twitter account, because that is the biggest recruiting tool right now. Any other questions? Well, I guess we don't have any other questions. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hopefully this stream was good for you guys. I apologize if the stream was a little bit off. Please visit deepdishfootball.com. The polls are out. And hey, enjoy the night. Remember, tomorrow's DuPage Run Shoot with my co-host Patrick Cotto as we talk DuPage County football. And again, follow Coach Big P and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm even on Snapchat. My email is coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for joining, and have a lovely day.